job. Go.
Okay, so what we're working on here is a ZF 8 HP 70 transmission, which happens to be in this Dodge truck that Sean's working on. Say hi, Sean. Hi. Down in Bay 5. This 8-speed transmission is made by ZF, which is German for gearbox, if you're interested in little trivia. They're a great transmission. They're used in almost everything today. Starting at 3 Series, 4-cylinder BMW, all the way up to the Bentley W12s, Rolls-Royce V12s, the Dodge Hellcats, everything in between. They make them in I believe five different power ratios or capabilities. And so great transmissions don't have a lot of problems. The issue becomes when you do have a problem with them and you want to buy a used one. They're plentiful, there's many of them available, and they're reasonably priced. And the reason for that is they're reliable. And the way the automotive parts market works is when something's reliable, it's cheap, supply and demand, right? So the issue we've got here is a warranty company wants us to install a used transmission in that truck. Well, the transmission control unit is this guy right here, which is built into what ZF calls the mechatronic, which everybody else in the world would call a valve body, along with the transmission control unit. The trouble is, once a VIN number, the vehicle identification number, is programmed at the factory into this module, it cannot be changed or overwritten. It's called married to the vehicle. So if you go to install a used transmission in this Dodge truck like we did, we knew this ahead of time before we put it all back together, the truck either won't start or you can't get out of park. It just won't move because it's what's called a VIN conflict. The engine control module and the transmission control module have different VIN numbers and they conflict. And so it'll just disable it. So how do we fix that? Well, this is not ideal. It's not our first choice. We would like to put a new transmission or a rebuilt where the VIN can be written into a virgin circuit board and it would work. Instead, we're forced to Humpty Dumpty cobble something together because of financial constraints here with what the warranty company's going to pay. So what we're doing, we don't want to reuse the old valve body because we suspect the bores are worn and maybe the solenoids are worn. 90% of modern day transmission problems are in this valve body or mechatronic. We don't want to reuse that. So what we did is we went and we took the module off of it. We're going to transfer that module to this valve body, which came with the used tranny, and put it all back together. Reset the adaptations, new fluid filter, blah, blah, blah. But this here, 8-speed transmission, is in pretty much every BMW, Volkswagen, Audi, Land Rover, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, and some other high-end cars. And Chrysler uses their own version of it, but it's still ZF is who produces this unit. Chrysler just basically takes it and cheapens it up. So this is all done under the guise of security so that the transmissions won't be stolen out of your driveway, as if that's even a feasible argument. It's not a catalytic converter. You can cut it out. It's much more difficult. Manufacturers don't like that shops and customers can use used parts. They don't like it. And they want you to buy a new one for $8,000 and bring it to them to have it programmed because you can't, a lot of repair shops can't even do that part. So what we're doing here is not ideal. It's what I would call a workaround in a situation where funds don't allow otherwise, but be aware on any of these newer European vehicles and even Chrysler vehicles, once the VIN is programmed into this, it cannot be changed, with the exception of there's a place in California, I believe, that you can take this out, you can ship both of them to them, and they will actually disassemble this and put little tiny jumper cables on the EEPROM and rewrite the data inside the processor. I don't know what the reliability of that is. It's not feasible. The truck would be on the hoist for weeks. We're not going to do that. But just be aware that if your trans goes bad and you just think you can throw a used one in, it's not as simple as it was 5-10 years ago. So that's what we're doing here today. Hopefully this saves someone some heartache of thinking they can just throw a tranny in because you can't. And that's what we're going to do in this case. Luckily, these rarely fail. They're probably the best transmission ever created, engineered, designed. And this is a situation where we're just trying to make the best of a bad situation. So thanks for watching.